Hello my friends, John LaRuffa here with another straight up solo. In this episode we're going to take a look at Arborea. I'm going to show you how this game plays with the solo mode plus the inclusion of the expansion and go through a couple turns and then tell you what I think about it to help you figure out if this is a game that you would like or something you want to pass on. So let's get started. Okay folks, and as usual, please like and subscribe to my YouTube channel if you haven't done so already. And if you have, I really do appreciate it. Thank you so very much. Now, as you can immediately see, this board is quite busy. There's no doubt about it. I like the colors, I like the design, but the one thing I will say that makes it tough is that the icons which drive the action are really teeny. So with everything going on, it looks really cool, but I wish they had somehow made these a little bigger. That would have helped spot things. Obviously, as you get going and you understand where things are, it's not the end of the world, but it would have been nice, at least just at the beginning, and especially for newer players. Now, what's going on here is this game is all about delayed worker activation. So you're placing your workers on these pilgrim tracks, and then they move at the end of the turn, or you can move them instead of placing a worker. And the interesting thing is you can only get off the track when the track moves. When you get off the track, you decide to go on the top path to the end or the bottom path to the end, depending on what your choice is. And as you go through those things, you activate these little icons that gives you or does a lot of different actions. That's the brunt of the mechanic of the game. Additionally, with the expansion, you have this boat track over here, which is very similar, except this moves based on how many times any of the tracks move on your turn. Okay, that you moved. Okay, then you have this, which is probably the most clever part, in my opinion, of this game. This is the novel piece. Okay, and I haven't seen this done before, which is the communal resource generation. Everything that you do when you generate resources in this game is open for anybody to use. If you don't use them on your turn, you actually will generate points. And that is kind of cool. So you kind of produce, so to speak. You use your turn to get the resources you need, or to use the turn to just generate a bunch of points, and then maybe leave them out there that you might use them later, or maybe somebody else uses them. And so I think that is really, really cool. The other thing you've got going on here is you have 4 different categories which will score based on multipliers, and that has been seen before in many games, but it works well in this one. And you will have ways to get up these different season tracks depending on whether you place your guys in these spots or you get some different rewards by giving the gifts to the sages. Then you have these creatures. The creatures here you kind of bring to the board, to the borderlands, so to speak. And as you bring them to the borderlands, that will be what the timer does to tick the game away. And then you're going to try to get them off of here and put them into your ecosystems by bringing them to your invitation area, and then maybe even holding them in captivity to put them later, if you can. Hopefully you can, or you lose points. But the whole idea is you're trying to get these creatures then to go to your ecosystem that's been established that you're building throughout the game, place them in intersections or other spots in order to do scoring at the end. And the scoring is tough to explain right now, but I want to just show you this card here. You can see that each type of creature will score in different ways depending on what it's placed next to, and maybe depending on what is I would say, I don't know what you want to say, orthogonal, but in a line all the way down to it, depending on the different creatures. And there's some other things too. The water doubles the score. The other thing that you get when you play with the Midnight expansion is that you get these different types of sprites. So there's a light sprite and a dark sprite. Those do different things to multiply your score. And then these these fish will score you 3 points each for every piece of water that is shown. And water is wild in this game. And when you place a guy next to water, it doubles the score you're going to be getting from that area too. So there is a ton of things to consider. Lots of it, okay? This game may look flowery and easygoing and everything else, but this is a beefy, heavy game. There is no doubt about it, because there's just a lot of things to think about. And with the movement of these tracks, because the AI will trigger the movement as well as you do. The deeper you go down the track, you're always better off. There's not, you can always, and in fact, if you pass the space, you can just go back and use it. So there isn't anything here like, oops, sorry, you missed out. There's no gotcha mechanisms, but there is so much to think about with regards to when do I want to get what, and in what order, and how long is it going to take me to get there. So there's just tons of different things, okay? Now, that being said, the game is fairly approachable from the mechanics that you're doing. So even though there's lots going on, it's definitely reasonable to play. It is not ridiculously hard once you get the rhythm down. And you can see this little player aid is pasted on the board here that tells you what to do in the order, and that can help. The other thing is they do have a quick reference in the back, which is good. And they do have some endgame scoring information that's fleshed out. This rule book is really pretty darn good. I was happy with the rule book. It does a really good job telling you how to do things and the steps to your turn and giving you big examples that were really helpful. They also do a decent job explaining the solo rules. However, I would say I just wish that I had one little player aid for the solo to explain things a little bit more clearly. It's not a tough solo to do by any means, but if with a simple player aid, it would have made it really easy to do. And it's in there, but I wish it was that there. That's a small nitpick. All right, so let me go ahead and demonstrate a couple turns so that you can see what's going on. And the turn track started over here and has walked its way down here. So we're literally into the near end of the game, probably like the last 20-25%, okay? It is my turn. Now on your turn, you can place, your choice is to place one worker or to move one pilgrim or advance one pilgrim track, or spend, in the case of a solo, 2 spirit points to do one of those again, okay? So I have one pilgrim over here who's standing here, and he cannot take his action yet. He's stuck until later. Now, I want him to move further down, and I really want him to go to this spot here because I need resources from that area. I also need resources from over here because I need water in order to build this biome. And this is really important because I need water for this guy to score. So I'm compelled to put my person on this track right here, and that will allow me to start generating the water that I need because I can get off the track and then do what I'm looking for, getting the water. So I place it over there, and the question I have, and this is the toughest thing, is do I decide to, I'm already negative in the spirit side of things, so if I decide to spend more, it's just going to make it more difficult, and to get the water, I have to go negative too, a negative as well. So that is a tough choice. I'm probably not going to do that. So I have placed my worker. Now I activate any active workers that are here, and that's where the rub is. Well, shoot. I don't have any active workers. Everybody's on the track. So the tension is, do I want to go deeper on the spirit track to move something so I can get off? And maybe if I get off the track, I can activate something that will help me. And the answer is, yes, I do. And I hope I don't regret it. So instead of doing that, I will spend the 2 spirit to move this 1 space. Okay. And then I'm going to get off the track right here. That way on my turn, I can do something on the track, but I also really need to attract more of these orange cats because you can see I have a lot of orange out here on my board that I want to score for. All right, so I have spent the spirit to take my second move there. Now I can move up to two of my active characters, including the boat. And I could, if I wanted to move a third one, I could spend more spirit to do that, but I only have 1 active character. And the boat doesn't really help me because I don't really want to move it yet out to where I was going. However, the boat did advance once when I did move it over there. So there's a little bit of a thought of moving it. Because then what I could do, and I will, just to demonstrate. So I'm going to move the boat down now. It's going to stop at this icon right here, which says put a gift into one of the sage areas. Well, since I'm about to trigger this one, I do want to put a sage gift over here. And then I'm coming back and it goes back to 0. Now I'm going to activate this. Well, the first icon, and I apologize, you really can't see it. The first icon tells me that I want to place one of these orange tokens in the borderland. When I do, I score 3 points, which is very nice. 1, 2, 3. Then I go to the next icon and it says generate a coral resource. So I open this up, and the way this would work if these were spent, unfortunately there's like a glut of these coral resources. I could potentially score points for them, but I don't have any way to do that. And these cards right here are not all that conducive for me to score anyway. So then I generate another one. So that's the only problem, was at the top, as you get more into this, I don't even get any points for that. So I kind of wasted that situation a little. But I needed to get these guys out because I need the orange. And I was on that track earlier, so that's where it's going to go. And the orange guys only come from these two tracks. Whoops. These two tracks over here. Okay, so now I take a bonus. And because of this spot right here, it says take one of these bonuses from the sage. And it will let me invite the animal that I need with this icon right here. So that's perfect. Or it will let me change a coral, which is this one that I just did, into a water wild, which I really need two over here, which is really good. So now I've got, more good tension here. And I really want to play this card. So I think I'm going to take this exchange. I'm going to exchange one of these for one of these. All right. Now I'm pretty sure that exchange opens up the point value. It doesn't move that down there. So I think that's still legitimate. And I'm happy to do it. I'm going to lose this game anyway, this time for sure. I'm not doing so well, but I think that's legitimate there. Then we go over here and he moves back to my spot. Now the big workers, there are three types of workers here. There's the large ones, which you can use over and over again. There's your young ones, which once you've used them, you have to train them again to be able to come down to this area down here. And then there's your veterans, which is the same thing. You still have to train them to come down here to be used again. But the veterans let the pilgrim tracks progress faster, which is good. And that's what you want, to get deeper into those tracks. So I have moved my two units, right? I moved this unit over here, I moved that unit over here. Now, moving to the next spot, if I could afford to activate this, I would be able to. But the only problem is we're missing one of the purple and we're missing one of the blue. So I can't pay for this this biome to activate it. So it has to stay there. Now I will gain 6 points because of that conversion. All right, which is the cool thing. So if I didn't use that resource right away, I get points for it. And there aren't, unfortunately, no points printed for this one. So I don't get any points for that. Okay. So the last thing you do is you then advance any of these spots that have your people on them, and then you would place any creatures that you could over here, and technically put any cards over here that you've already activated. So I'm going to move this one space because it is the large guy. So he goes up here, and if I wanted to, I can get off, and I do want to. I'm going to get off so I have something to do next turn. And also I'm doing that because I need to get this last water to try to hurry up and get this. When I did make that move, it moves my boat one space. Okay, because I have no water to put this fish in, I cannot bring him to the area here. That's why I really want to activate this card. And so my turn's done. Now we're going to go to the AI, all right? And I forgot what the AI is called. It's like Forenia or something, or let's see. Feronia. All right, so Feronia, very ferocious. So the way this works is, and I'll show you the bottom card here. These cards drive the action. And the way they do it is they tell you the order and the preference in which you want to put the workers down for the AI. If there is any season markers in here, they will prefer to go to a season marker placement spot first. And then once you place all these, then you activate every worker that's on the board, not just the ones that are, every worker that's on the path, pardon me, not just the ones that are out there. Or I'm sorry, not just two, there's no limit. Then, depending on the situation, if you need to gather cards, you'll gather in this order, this one first and this one. If you need to get creatures, you would get this type of creature first and then go in that direction, looping around up on the top if you need to get creatures, okay? And there are some other things. The AI does not score for several of these bonuses, so they have some special rules and specific things. But for the most part, it plays just like, I'd say, a very efficient bot at a 2-player. However, since it places, most of the time it'll place twice, it's almost like playing a 3-player game. So it fills in a lot more, and I love how they did that. That was very smart, because they have such board placement all the time that it moves these tracks relatively quickly for you, which can be a very big help. All right, so it wants to put the one worker that has available into this slot over here, and it will. So it puts it there. Next, it is going to activate all its workers, and it activates the workers in the region order that it shows here, although I'm not 100% sure if that really matters. So here, these icons that I just moved over, those don't do anything but activate or move up this token, the veteran, on the scoreboard. And the veteran on the scoreboard will take that score and multiply it by a number, 2 for very easy, all the way up to 7 for very hard. And that will be a big contributor to the end game scoring for the solo opponent. Okay, skips this icon completely, then just comes back and it's done. The next one, it's going to activate over here. It doesn't pay for any spirit resources. It will bring this one over and out. So he comes out, and I hope when I activate it, I pull that out, I remembered. I'm pretty sure I remembered to advance that before. If I didn't, I apologize. So this purple cat comes out, and he never gets any of the bonuses from the tiles. Okay, and then he's going to open up, excuse me, 2 of these, 1, 2. He's going to move his boat 3 on the ship. Oh, I forgot to move his boat. I guess it doesn't, I'm not sure exactly when you're supposed to move the boat, before or after right now, but let's pretend I should have moved it first, because that would be the most advantageous here. So he never gets a fish, but he gets this. He will not get, so basically he just moves up 3 spots in here. So because he never gets any of those, it's just 1, 2, 3 on this every time he goes through. So then he's going to move 3 spots, 1, 2, 3 over here. He skips this icon and then returns home. Okay. There's nobody here on this one to activate. He's still on the path, so he's over here. He is going to bring out one of these, the last cat over here, and he never gets any bonuses for that. Then he's going to open up 1, 2, 3 of the green resources, 1, 2, 3, and then skip that icon and return home. Now he's going to try to pay for the one of these biome cards if he can. And unfortunately for me, which is really frustrating, he is going to be able to get this one. So what he will do is he will spend 1 orange, 2 green, 1, 2, and 2 blue, 1, 2, to bring this into play. And it doesn't really come into play. What it basically does is it's going to score him points at the end of the game. He doesn't get any bonuses for it. He doesn't do anything else with it. He just does it. Now he's going to close up his biomes. So in this case, he's going to get 2 points. I shouldn't say biomes. I don't know what these. He's going to finish this step. So he gets 2 points right now. 1, 2. Closes that up. And then he would, I think that's it. So he's done his activation. Oh yeah, he's got it. Now he's got to do, of course, his pilgrim track. So he's got 2 people that's going to move his spot twice, and he's going to go up 1, 2, and when you push to the 4th spot, he will get off the track, and he will move up over here. And if there's ever 2 of his guys on the track at once, he will always take the furthest one to the center and also get off the track there. This guy stays on. And that is his turn. Now, back to me. So I have the options to pick up these guys if I can get some of these pulled up. The tension I have, and I still will be able to do this, so that's okay. That's all right. That's all right. Okay, we're definitely going to do this. We're going to put it over here because I need to get some of these going. So I place that on there. Because I placed it in the season tile, that will bring this multiplier up. Although I'm not doing very well. If I don't get these things into that area before the end of the game, I'm not going to get anything out of that multiplier. Anyway, now that he's up there, we do not want to spend any more spirit to move anything along. I'm going to then advance my move here. This costs 2 more spirit. Oh boy, am I in trouble. And then I get a water, which is important. So technically I could save up for 5 points, but I'm not going to do that. I get 3 here, 1, 2, 3. And then did I trigger one of these? Yes, I did. So I have, oh good, I have the option to take the creature now and invite him. I'm going to invite him, which is perfect. I get 2 spirit back, 1, 2, and then I bring him home. Now, I can try to activate a biome. Well, you know, I can't win for losing on this one because unfortunately, now I don't have any purple to activate this. So it's not going to happen. So I can't pay for that card, so I'm going to end up closing it up to get 5 points, which could be worse, but still. And then at that point, I think I'm finished. Yes, so now I will advance this 1 space. Do I want to get off? That would help me get some more workers, but I don't think so. The problem is if I don't, so I advance 1 space here. If I don't, I'm not even taking a turn next time. I think I want to get off because I want to get some more of these guys to do my absolute best to place them in the right spots at the end. So I'm going to get off there. It's going to be a quick turn over here. Now I'm going to put this creature into this slot over here because he's going to score 2 points for each of the yellowish orange flowers around this spot here. And that's really good. That's what I need. All right. Or would I be better off putting it here? Actually, would I be really better off putting it over here in the hopes that I could get this? So actually, I'm going to put it here. And my hope is I'm going to be able to get some additional, like if I could get this guy right here and place them over here, then he will point to that and that will give him some more points. Let's see, so that would be 9 instead of 8. I'll take the risk. We'll see what happens because that is my plan. Okay, so my turn is over. And now it's back to him. So he will then flip another card. Now he's got more than 2 workers, so he's just going to place 2. And he's going to place it on ones that have the ability to do the season tracks. And that would be here first. So he gets one of these dark guys, these little sprites. So he does that, and then he is going to place it on this spot over here because there is no other spot there. Now he's going to activate all of his workers. Well, he only has 1 worker to activate this time. So he's going to advance the turn. Oh boy, almost done. In fact, we are done. We're going to have 2 more turns left and that's going to be it, but we'll see how that goes. Okay, so he's going here. He's going to put this out here. All right. Then he opens up a purple that I desperately need. And he opens up 2 of those orange. And he heads home. Now, he tries to activate his biomes. The first one requires 3 purple. He does not have 3. This one requires more of those. He doesn't have those. This one requires 2 purple and 4. Boy, that's unfortunate. So he has a wild. So what's he going to be? He's going to be able to do this. He is going to be able to spend 1 of those to close it and 1 of these and then 4 of these. And he's going to get that card out there. And because he was able to do it from the board, he doesn't have to do anything over there. So I think I'm pretty much hosed. Anyway, that's what he's going to do there. Then he's going to do his pilgrim. So this, because he has 2 guys on here, it's going to move 2 spaces. 1, 2. And since this icon is revealed, we bring this back over. And since this guy is at the 4th space, but also there's 2 people, he's going to get off the track. And since the arrow's down here, he's going to point like that. Then finally, this one goes 1. And because we move 3 total, he moves his boat 3. All right. Oh, and I skipped this step. He's going to get 5 points here. Closing that. So you definitely get the feeling of the game, I think. I'm going to stop right here, but that's the kind of interaction you've got. You've got a lot of intricate timing situations to try to pull things off. And clearly, the more you play it, the better you'll get at understanding that timing. All right, so the game ends, like I said, when it reaches this spot here. And when it reaches that spot, you're going to actually remove the sun token, and each of you are going to get 2 more tokens left. So yeah, so it's going to go all the way till it hits that spot right there, which it did. And then, so you remove this. Basically, when I take my next turn, after he takes his, we remove it. After he takes the other one, he removes it, and that's it. That's the end of the game. So just a couple more, and then we would see. Now, the way the end scoring works, like I said before, is you have all these things to score in here, plus your season track stuff based on these categories over here. And then he will score based on a multiplier, which I'm going to do multiply by 2. So he'll basically get 44 points over here. I'm playing it very easy. He scores 1 point for each of his creatures here. I believe it's 1. Look it back up. He scores some points for these. He'll score 2 for every 2 of these that are up here. He'll score, and then for everybody that's on the board, he'll score as well. Or people that are on the track but not activated, pardon me, he will score as well. And so that is what it looks like. Let me tell you what I think about it. So that's a full look at the solo mode for Arborea. Now, this game, I think, is really, really good. The cool thing about it is that there is just so much to consider on your turns, and there's so much that you could do to, I think, play very, very smartly. There's not a lot of random stuff besides not knowing what the worker is going to be, or what the AI is going to do to place their worker, but you can tag along with them on their tracks, right? You can use them to bring you up to better stuff. You can give gifts to make spots better for you in general and more flexible. The resource generation, communal resource thing, I think is fantastic. To me, I've never seen that done that way, where you get points for those things. I love it. I think that is the novelty of this game. It's also really good because you want to make these resources and leave them for points to get a bunch, but you also want to use them, and maybe you take a risk, and that's just really, really cool. The building your biome is fun. Your habitat, pardon me, is fun. Getting the cards is cool. I like how they give you good rewards you really need. And just in general, the risk versus reward of the spirit track is very cool. You can get more actions, but at what cost? Oh man, there's just so much to like about this game. And I was totally not expecting to be so blown away. I kickstarted this game somewhat on a whim. I looked at it, I'm like, yeah, that looks kind of cool. That's kind of interesting here and there, but I did not fully grasp the mechanics and how really satisfying this game really is when I went for it. And man, am I surprised. And I love being surprised. I absolutely do. For having played so many games and seeing things that are okay, adequate, good, but to get surprised by something is really, really cool. So obviously, I'm glowing over this from just a gameplay standpoint. I think the solo plays just fine. I think it fills in. It probably feels like a 3-player, like I said before. It's really not bad to do. I'm going to try. I wish there was just one little solo player aid. It would be perfect. Just one thing to keep you on track. The one thing I would say, because there's so much going on, and I've heard this said by different reviewers, is that you definitely can feel like you can get lost somewhat on your turn, like lose your place of like, I'm activating this and doing this and this. Oh shoot, I forgot to do that. Just because there's so much there. That probably smooths out with subsequent plays and you get better at it. But the order of operations does somewhat matter, and you don't want to do that. But luckily you can kind of correct it. It's not like you will make something, game breaking or whatever, and you have to stop the whole thing to do it. But this is just a really, really enjoyable game. Now, I will definitely say it's probably not for everybody. This could melt some people's brains for sure. And that's not, with some people that are really prone to AP, or some people that have a tough time with lots of different options that you can do. This one puts another dimension in, which is waiting for your worker to be where you want it to be, advancing your worker. So it's not just putting it here and getting it. It's putting it here and then leaving it. How long can I leave it to get as much as I can out of that turn? It's really, really, really good. I'm very, very pleased pleased with it, very happy. Again, there's some very minor things with the icons being kind of small, and it's kind of hard to see what you're doing there. And the procedural side of it, I had just a little, and I'm glad they gave you the quick reference. This is good. There's nothing wrong with this. Just needed one for the solo, I think. And you know, as you get used to the solo mode, it becomes less of an issue too. But just so good. And then the final thing is with the edition I have with the Kickstarter, it does come with that boat expansion. The boat mechanic isn't all that great compared to the different sprites. The boat's fine, it's just another track, but the different sprites are, the two sprites that are they give you plus the fish are really cool. That really makes it for lots of options of how to construct your ecosystem and or your habitat and where to put things and what to include and such. I mean, there's just a lot of stuff to explore with this game. The fact that the different season icons rotate, I mean, you'll never play a similar game. Your strategy will always be different depending on the setup. And I do think this is a very strategic game. This is not just a tactical experience here. Because of the way the season markers play out and the types of cards and the way you're building what you're doing, you can definitely have specific strategies going into it. Say, I'm going to focus on this and I'm going to ignore that. I'm going to focus on this, but I'm going to ignore that. It's not a situation where you can just dabble all over the place and be all right. I mean, it rewards clever and focused play. And there's the Kickstarter version also has some tile overlays, which you just put over the different sages to give them a little bit more variety. So there's that too. Again, flushes it out. But this is a great game. I really, really, really like it. I hope this has been helpful to you. I didn't have a lot of negative things to say just because I love being surprised about new things. And to me, it took I've played the waiting worker mechanic before in Tzolk'in, and Tzolk'in's fine. The one thing about that is that game takes a long time for your worker to get someplace. You know, it's like really long. Here, your worker can get moving quickly. There's a lot more movement. It's much quicker, and I like that. I think that's fun. And I love the tension that this game sets up between putting stuff on the board that you want to use and hopefully not losing it. You know, every time you bring out a creature, you're putting it on the board, but it could be taken by the AI the next turn. And that has definitely happened to me on more than one occasion where I needed that creature to put it out, ding, it was taken right away. And especially the resource engine, the communal resource engine can be very similar. It's just really cool. There's a lot of interaction for a game that you can play in a solo state. So anyway, thanks so much for watching. I really appreciate everybody. Whatever you decide to play in the future, you know I really hope you have a fantastic time doing it. Take it easy.